Welcome to the Faculty of Science Freshman Welcome Day. This is lecture 26 and we'll start our talk for the Food Science and Technology program. I'm Chad Ming, a Year 3 Chemistry and History student, and I'll be your MC today. So, do you want to find out more about the Food Science and Technology or FST program? In this talk, Dr. Liu Meihui will be sharing more about the FST syllabus, program requirements, and learning opportunities, and more. Dr. Liu graduated from the pioneering batch of NUS's Food Science and Technology program. Her research has brought her on scientific journeys into the fields of molecular biology, nutrition, and genomics. Dr. Liu is currently a senior lecturer at the Department of Food Science and Technology. Dr. Liu, please.
Hello, okay, thank you. So thanks for coming to the Dean's Welcome Tea. We don't have a lot of people. We have actually the staff ratio doing this Dean's Welcome Tea is to the students is 1:1. Don't feel shy. I mean, since it's a small class, small group, okay, you can just actually ask any questions along the way. Some of the slides you might actually have seen it either online because it's some of my old slides, and you might have attended the previous open house. Is actually those slides. If you see me, right, is a part of those slides are my slides when I use it for open house. Hello. Yeah, but of course today there are a little bit more details on things related to syllabus. So those are things that I've added in. But at the same time, if you guys actually, guys and girls have any particular question, please feel free to just shout out and ask, because I will try to answer, but I may not have all the correct answers. The actual staff that really knows all the rules and regulations and policy is basically Simin and Hani. So these are the ladies that you will be emailing very often throughout your 4 years. Okay, so their email is Simin at NUS, and then Hani, your one is Hani at NUS. I see, yeah, easy to remember. Yeah. Because you ask them, can you request for this and that and so forth. So it's important to remember their emails. All right. So for today I will just share with you a bit more details related to this particular major. I will mainly focus on the Food Science and Technology as a first major and give you the details related to that. Can I have a show of hands whether all of you are admitted into the major already? Or is there anyone considering any coming into the major either through whichever? All of you are in the Food Science major? You're not? Undeclared. So then you're considering whether you want to do the 1101B. Need or not? Need? No need. What's the secret one? Right, yeah. But then you have to do the 1101B first, after that you apply. Right now we basically have about 2 years worth of numbers to tell you that every year after students have done 1101B, there are students that's admitted through that stream as well. So it's not like there's no possibility of coming into food science as a first major. There's still possibility after taking 1101B and then you apply and so on. So that procedure you have to ask Simin and Hani directly. Okay, yeah. Coming back to this, I just want to give you guys some idea what food science and technology is. Essentially, food science is really the understanding of food, using biology, physical sciences, engineering concepts, and all these things. So you basically see that it's the nature of food, understanding is a study of it. But when we talk about technology, it's basically applying this understanding onto things in which is relevant to food. For example, buy, don't worry, go. But you can try to consider this on nutrition if you are interested in. Okay, so here technology is basically the applied part of food. Here we talk about how to extend shelf life, how to make the food nutritious, and even packaging, processing, distribution. All these things are in the context of food technology. These are some of the slides that actually my head of department would usually present. So we have to also welcome you in many ways. One way is to really tell you that this particular food scientists and food technologies are basically a profession that has a very big industry sector. Okay, and here are actually all the different types of professional societies around the world that consist of food scientists, food technologists. You see these parallels in the context of pharmacists, doctors, engineers as well. So in the context of food science and technology, we also have such professional societies. Okay, and then I would also want to welcome you to the FST family. Okay, we call ourselves a family more because we always have started off as a small program, and eventually we grew to become our very own department in 2020. Okay, and now we are almost 25 years, so we are slightly older than all of you here. And in this context, right, we actually have quite a lot of alumni in the whole ecosystem of food technology and agri-tech as well. So it is eventually when you become part of the food science major, you will realize that even when you go for internships, you will actually meet some of these alumni, and sometimes you will actually feel that this network is actually quite helpful in terms of already having a connection, a common thing coming from this particular program. Okay, our program is also the only one that is IU-FORCE accredited. So eventually, this is really just a stamp to say that the training that is given here, even though it's under CHS, the first major, the modules that we provide are quality modules that food scientists, food technologists from around the world, from different universities, they also would approve this particular design. Okay. So where does all our graduates go to? This is I mentioned just now. We basically have graduates that work in many industries throughout the whole food supply chain. Okay, from the raw materials. This context, generally in Singapore, it will be urban farming context. Okay, all the way to manufacturing, you need to produce your food in large quantities at a very good cost. You need to come up with new products, so it's new product development. You need to understand how consumers, what do they want, all these consumer studies. But eventually this food has to be consumed, and how does it affect your health? Is it toxic? Is it healthy? All these things eventually is the whole food supply chain. Of course, in the government sector, there's also quite a good demand of food scientists because they need them in not just Singapore Food Agency. Okay, we have a lot of them at Singapore Food Agency doing regulatory and also even R&D work. Okay, but we also have people at HPB, Health Promotion Board, National Environmental Agency, and HSA as well. Of course, right now there is really the booming agri and food tech industry startup ecosystem within Singapore. Singapore is like kind of the Asia food tech valley, kind of like that. Okay, but there is really quite a lot of startups within this ecosystem. Some of them work on food tech, some of them work on agri tech, and so forth. And all these things, okay, are just the sectors in which our alumni go to. But if you actually look at these names here, these are actually the different types of roles that food scientists and technologists do. Okay, and each one of you can actually, depending on your own interests throughout these 4 years, you'll be exposed to sensory, you'll be exposed to nutrition, you'll be exposed to food microbiology and different aspects. You might find certain parts more appealing, okay, and then you can go deeper into that. So when people say, what does food scientists and food technologists do? This is really very hard to explain because it really encompasses a lot of things. So a food scientist is not just a food scientist. The food scientist could be really a sensory scientist, could be a nutritionist, could be doing flavor, could be doing flavor analytical chemistry and so forth. Okay, so there's actually many roles for you to try to find what is the niche that you would prefer. One of the key things about many of the food scientists, food technologists that is right now in Singapore or around the world that are our alumni, all of them, many of them are actually involved in trying to push this national agenda. Okay, maybe by now you have already heard about the Singapore 30 by 30 goal, don't know how many times already, okay. Every time I interview students, they also, I want to be a food scientist because I want to contribute to a 30 by 30 goal. Yes, I know everyone to contribute to the 30 by 30 goal. But you need to know what exactly is involved in this. A part of this involves, of course, a multidisciplinary thinking, so you need to be under CHS. Okay, then also a lot of the technical understanding related to food. Okay, so this is one of the key agenda that food scientists and food technologists would contribute in. So overall, we actually have quite a number of modules within the whole major, and the department is not only just me. So most of the time you see me talking, but and then I appeared at the orientation camp and so on. But the whole department has actually 20 over people that comes in to teach only. There's also support staff, which is 10 over. So there's actually a lot of people, not just one person. Okay, that's the main point of this whole slide that I wanted to show you. But if you are interested in looking at the modules, you can go to here. The thing is that here in this particular NUS Welcome Tea, we are supposed to actually talk about a bit more detail about taking food science and technology as a first major. So this is where I start to go into a bit more details. In this is basically a typical 4 years CHS experience, and if you actually look at how the structure is like, is that basically every year you will have semester 1 and semester 2, okay? And then in between semester 1 and 2, you will have December, which is we call it winter break. Although there's no seasons here, we try to be fancy, and this is winter. And then between May and July is summer, okay? This is the in between year 1 and year 2 and year 3. This part here, May to July, is always the summer break, okay? This is your whole 4 years. I want to put it like this because eventually I will also tell you that this summer is actually also the time where students can make full use of what opportunities is being offered to them within the whole NUS. Okay, for me, when I was a food science student, the summer I just did nothing. So there's actually many things to do. I can give you some suggestions, and then you can think about what you want to do for those times. Okay, but the first part I want to focus on is actually competency building, which basically is the modules that you have to take within your year 1 to year 4, first semester and second semester. Okay, so competency building here, we are actually talking about building you up as a food scientist and food technologist. And basically that would be focusing on your first major. What are the modules that you have to take? It's 15 modules, and later I'll tell you what these 15 modules are. Of course, common curriculum, 13 modules, you're supposed to take these 13 modules, cannot choose, cannot run away, you have to do it, okay? But this is the part where people, depending on which major, you will take those 15 modules. Of course, there's also UE. This is unrestricted, meaning that you can think about how you want to use this space. Later, I will also give you some suggestions on how to use this space. But first, let's talk about the first major first. So it's 15 modules, and if you're bored, you can just keep track of the number of modules I show you. But I am going to show you in the format that for level 1, level 2, level 3 and 4, okay, semester 1 and 2, okay. When I write here level 1, bear in mind basically it's level 1. It's not year 1, year 2. Meaning that in the context of our modules in NUS, basically if let's say you say whether you can you take FSC 2201 in your year 1, you can, as long as you satisfy the prerequisite. So that's why when we actually put in the levels here, and it doesn't clash with your timetable, okay? That's why when we say level 1, it's just actually the module. We don't actually say year 1, year 2. This is not a year 1 to year 2, year 3, year 4 timetable. Of course, there is also sample study plans, which I will show you the link to download the sample study plan for you to consider. Okay, but here, let me just talk about the modules first. Like all majors, the first level 1 is basically your gateway module. And for each major, they only have one gateway module. And our gateway module is this FST 1101B. It is offered in both semester 1 and semester 2. So I put here all, means that depending on your timetable, depending on whether you already have the prerequisite, you will then, you can either take FSC 1101B in SEM 1 or SEM 2. Okay? Those people that take FSC 1101B in SEM 2 are likely to be those people that have to do bridging modules in SEM 1. So bridging modules includes, if you don't have a H2 biology, you will have to take this particular biology bridging module, LSM 1301. And if you don't have chemistry in your A-levels, you have to take this particular bridging module. If you don't have chemistry and biology, okay, you will have to take both of these bridging modules before you can do your FSC 1101B in SEM 2. But don't worry, those people that do it in FSC in SEM 2, you won't be behind, because for the past 2 years, it has always been that 1101B was in SEM 2. So at least there's 2 batch of people that have already tried to sort out all the different kinks or those clashing timetables and all these things for you already. So either way, so the untested route is basically the SEM 1, but actually doing it in SEM 1 may help you have a clearer, more timeline to actually do the other modules. So it depends. So right now we are still testing. You're the 3rd batch of CHS students, so we're still open to hear your comments. We may not have all the solutions, but happy to see what suggestions you have. Okay, so this is level 1. And then level 2, you basically have 5 modules that is offered in SEM 1 for this module, and also SEM 2 for this set of modules, where you actually learn a bit more deeper into things related, different aspects of food. I have this particular recommended modules. These are basically modules that is along the minor in marketing and entrepreneurship, or is it just entrepreneurship? Yeah, it's more the business-related aspects. But it may not put the, okay, may not go in the mind. Okay, so recommended doesn't mean that you must. Okay, must take. It's just recommended, suggested. Okay, some people, there are many students that eventually didn't take some of these modules, which is fine. There are also students that took those modules. As long as you see, actually, it aligns with what you want to develop yourself in. Okay. This is level 2. And then in level 3, okay, this particular semester 1 of, these are the modules, okay, these are the modules that are offered in semester 1. Okay, typically, if you follow this particular, although I say it's level 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? It's not year 1, 2, year 2, year 3, but typically people will actually study these modules in year 3, typically, okay? And these are the modules that's offered in SEM 1, and these are the modules that's offered in SEM 2, okay? Generally, in the context of students that are that eventually have all the prerequisites to do level 4,000 modules, okay, they will have to clear their level 4,000 modules in SEM 2, because in SEM 1 there is no level 4,000 modules that's being offered. Okay, any questions? So what do they do? What do people do here? You got many other things to do, actually. There's remember you have a space that's UE, okay? People will use that space to do the minor, second major, or specialization. There's many things to do. So depending on how you plan your timetable, you will be fully occupied in the 4 years. Although your first major here don't have anything. Actually, this actually gives you a space to be more flexible in some of your planning. Okay, so these are the 15 modules, okay, that contributes to your first major. You have to clear all this and pass them. There are also electives. I separated into 2 types, two columns. This column is 3,000 and below. This is 4,000 and above. Okay, they are separated also in terms of general in terms of context. If you see these ones. My pen. Okay, if you see these ones, these are actually started to teach already. Okay, these are actually the modules that students take for knowledge. Okay, but there are also modules that allow students to do research. UROPS, the word here, is undergraduate research opportunities in science. Okay, UROPS, this is research opportunities. There's also internship opportunities, whether it's UP, whether it's FSC professional placement, all these are internship-related ones. The same goes for here. Okay, here you have a level 4,000 research project, okay, and then you have a level 4,000 internship project also. In the context of here, right, these two modules, okay, one is research, one is internship, but there is actually some differences here. When you do research as an honors project, 12 MCs, it's 2 semesters long. It happens at the background while you do your modules, okay. You will still be in school doing your labs and then taking modules and so forth. But in the context of this professional placement, although it's 12 MCs, you do it in 1 semester. And this 1 semester, you would be actually in that company. So generally, so it's off campus. Okay, so you'll be away for that 1 semester. Okay, depending on how you feel about your, how you want to plan your 4 years, you could actually have internship experience and also research experience. Typically, all our graduates would have both experience throughout their 4 years. Typically, okay, because right now there is internships, there is research projects, and they either take the research projects as Europe's or FYP, final year project, or in the context of their internships, they either do the internships within certain times, like for example summer, or they actually take the first semester of their year 4 to do their internship. So these are different ways to actually try to clear some of these electives. Okay. Of course, there's also 5,000 level modules for students to take, especially in the context of specialization. Okay, so here is where I start to talk about how to use this particular unrestricted space. You are actually the key point here already is that everybody will be the same for this part. Everybody is the same for this part. The key point that defines your experience, your own experience, is really how you use your UE space. So actually, more thought should be placed into that in terms of how you want to do this. Because depending on whether you want to take a whole different range of modules, you can become a versatilist. Okay, these are the terms that they want to use. If you want to be a specialist, you want to specialize, have the specialization in your first major, you can become a deep specialist. You use most of the space there to take more food science modules. Of course, some people will do it as a second major, and then you integrate two particular fields together. Okay, a bit more suggested majors, second major or minors in a bit, but I just want to tell you that I just want to show you how does this whole thing work. So here we are always talking about this 48 MCs, unrestricted space. Okay. This space, you can use it as a minor. You can do 1 minor, you can do 2 minor. You still got some space because minor is only 20 MCs. Okay, this is 48, your UE have 48 space. If you want to do specialization, specialization is also 20 MCs. Okay, this is where the deep specialist is, where you use, you can only do 1 specialization. You cannot do specialization in both. It's not possible also in terms of timetabling. Okay, specialization in either research-related ones or on industrial application. I'll show you in a bit. But you could also still do a minor if you want to do a specialization. Okay, all this is on the context of your timetable not clashing, both for your timetable and exam timetable. Okay, in theory, on paper, it sounds nice, but sometimes technicalities might restrict your planning. Of course, there are people that actually do second major. Okay, second major is 40 MCs. So this is where you would then have to have about 8 MCs to do some unrestricted other modules. Okay, so this is how you define yourself. You become different from your classmate. And this eventually can add on to your competency building. Okay, here are some suggested minors. 5 modules, because for 20 MCs, 20 course credits, not modular credits, sorry, course credits, okay. We have very common, some students either do analytical chemistry, life science, entrepreneurship, nutrition, management. Second major suggested ones are nutrition. This is not we are not limiting you to this ones, it's just suggested. You could actually explore others. We have students that do minors in Japanese studies. We have students that are trying to do psychology, second major, and all these things. Okay. The other part is this specialization. This is what I was talking about previously. Okay. Here, when you want to become a deep specialist, you use 20 MCs, okay, as a specialization. But this 20 MCs is actually 3 modules only. Okay. if you feel like you are someone that is that wants to be more into the research and innovation part, you basically would be specialization in research and innovation. What you do there is you do a research project. This is basically your final year project, okay? And then you take 2 modules from this level, 4,000 and 5,000 module list. Actually, on the website itself, they give you a more detailed one, so you should. I will encourage you to go take a look at that. And then there's also another specialization, which is basically industrial application. This is the part where this module is basically your internship module. Okay, it's also 12 MCs. Either you do an internship, 12 MCs, or either you do a research project, 12 MCs. But bear in mind, these two, the difference is that this one is two semesters across, but this particular one is 1 semester off campus. And you have to do 1 independent study during your time off campus. This independent study, I think maybe more details will be shared later when we actually have a welcome tea. We still have another welcome tea within the department for you guys, where you actually do your own independent research, independent online research on certain topics. Okay, and then you have to read another module within a given basket of things. So this is competency building overall. I will encourage you to actually really consider the research pillars, okay? So, although some students that would think that, okay, I want to just do internships, I don't want to do the research part of things. But actually research part really does train you in a very different way. The reason you come to science is really because you want to do a bit of science, learn a bit of how scientists think. Okay, so I would encourage you to either do research in either the Europe's context, undergraduate Europe's research opportunities, or do it as a final year project. Because that's eventually what you wanted to do, right? Become a scientist. A part of it is that. So these are actually some of the research topics that many of my other colleagues do. Okay, I encourage you to go check out our website. There's actually different profs there that actually work on different projects. Go and talk to them, and then they are quite nice one. They will share with you what they do, and you can ask them whether they are looking for interns during summer to do research projects, or they are actually looking for undergraduate research opportunity, students to do undergraduate research or final year project. There's many ways. You can do it either in summer as an intern, you can either do it in summer as a Europe's project, you could either do it as a final year project as well. Okay? Of course, there's internships also. There's various ways in which we provide internship opportunities. Just now I've listed you so many the different codes. But overall, these are all the different places our students have gone to as interns. So if you look at food companies, it's not just global MNCs that people might be interested, might be more familiar with, because that's where you see the brands at the shopping, at the supermarket. But food science basically is actually many things behind that. For example, your ingredients company, the flavor companies, QA, QC, making sure that your food has certain quality and so forth, government organizations and so forth and so on. Okay, also there's actually many companies out there that knows about our students and are happy to actually take students as interns. Okay, so here is basically all the things that you can try to consider using your UE space, of course, specialization and so forth and so forth. And so here you will see that in this whole 4 years, right, this particular summer is basically opportunities for you to do different things. Most of the time, students would do student activities in the first summer. More because everyone is very blur. Year 1 is really just play and then SU everything. Okay, blur. Not much skill sets yet. Best time to do student activities. Run a camp, run 3 camps, get very sunburned and all these things. Because student activities really also build different skill sets. You think about process thinking, you think about planning and so forth. Of course, there are students that also do other things like interns. They intern during this summer and so forth. Okay. Overall, we would try to encourage you to actually also make use of the different summers to do different things. These are suggested. Okay, these are the colors. Like you can either do things in student life. Okay. Or you can get experiential opportunities, like, for example, going to summer school. Okay, summer school, UPIP or summer school are all experiential. Or going overseas. Some people go for summer schools, and we actually have summer summer programs as well for you to learn other things as well. Take those opportunities. Of course, students will ask about SEP, Student Exchange Program. Here, okay, always students will ask me this question. I don't give you the list of universities that students have gone to. I only give here, and then you forget it's your business. Because I want the students to actually plan your modules properly, to know which universities offer which courses. In general, we have maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of our students going for student exchange at different semesters and so forth. Last time it used to be in one particular semester, but now we have a few different sections, few different windows that students might want to go for student exchange. A lot of these details, there's a lot of details to this. So in the department welcome talk, we would actually spend a bit more time talking about all these things so that you guys have a clearer idea what are the caveats and so forth. And in terms of student competitions, other than actually running the event, right? For example, running camps or food tech challenge and so forth, you could also participate in such challenges. So NUS Food Tech Challenge is one of the flagship competitions that the FST Student Society actually does to open, and they open this competition up to the whole of Singapore and the whole of the world. So we have a lot of international students that do the online competition. So a lot of the Southeast Asian countries actually participate in this. They are recruiting now, okay, NUS Exco, so if you're interested, you can go and scan and see what they do, okay. Okay, so this is basically the main point. I'm going to my last few slides already. Overall, there's always competency building, okay, and here is where you not only just make use of your first major, you also make use of the UE space to actually build the competency that suits you. But overall, your NUS experience is actually a lot more than just the competency building, okay. Don't always only focus on that. There's many other things there for you to build on, many other things outside of classroom for you to take advantage of. Okay, so this is example from some of your seniors where she stayed in hall in year 1, of course, run some camps. Okay, and then she started her internships in year 2. In year 3, she went for student exchange at Cornell. In year 4, she did her research project. So these are things that are typical of many of the seniors that have gone through this whole system. Many things very busy, but very fun in the end. Okay, so you can scan this for sample study plans. Okay, but the main point here is that you should start planning early, but also be flexible about your choices. Sometimes it's timetable clashes. Sometimes it's really that you really have too many modules that you want to take already. You cannot plan it into your whole plan. Okay, let's say typically people take 5 modules. If you want, some people actually take 6 modules. But this is very much on top of your other activities outside of the classroom. If you stay in hall, you got other things. If you stay in your RCs, you got other things and so forth. In your student society, other things. So all these things, please balance it up and try to be flexible about your overall experience within NUS. Okay, we would have a department welcome lunch in August, 10th August. So that's week 0, where you're all trying to get into the mind frame of studying for the next 4 years. Welcome, okay? And then we'll tell you a little bit more details. There's actually a lot of nitty-gritty details. And if you really want to make it more meaningful, you could even start doing your own planning first. And then you might actually, along the way, when you do your own planning, you will start to have questions like whether can you do this, can you do that. Then after that, when you come for this particular department welcome lunch, you got questions that can be clarified immediately because all of us will be there. Then we can answer some of those questions for you. Then it will be actually much more useful, okay, than today I come here, okay, because got rain, so cannot run away, so that's why you hear that kind of thing, okay? Okay, so I'm done with my talk. Thank you for your